been really interesting. I think seeing the industry come back together, first of all, has been great, and seeing how I think there's pent up energy for people doing things, which is really exciting. I've picked up on probably what I think of the three key areas that I'm seeing people talking about, which I find interesting. So if I take it the lowest level first, a big focus on underserved, underbanked, which surprised me a little bit. That's been a theme I've heard here before. It's been a theme in the industry. It surprises me that's still a real topic of conversation, but I think the way people are thinking about it is very different now. They're really coming up with solutions. I think they're really thinking about taking the best of what's been happening in digital with some of the neobanks, applying that to a different demographic in a different sector, bringing probably more sophisticated financial products to those previously underserved. So I think that's really exciting, and I've heard that in a number of different areas, from vendors to providers to licensed players. A bit of fintech and financial service collaboration. So to me, that's exciting. Hopefully it makes a change in this market in particular, and those underserved communities get a lot more help. So that's one. I think the second area, I think it's Dan Schulman at PayPal talks about democratization of financial services. I think there's a theme I'm picking up on around that, which is, and I look at it and I think particularly when you think about wealth, a lot of conversations around wealth and bringing, again, probably more sophisticated wealth products to a different demographic and probably more mass market customer and consumers. Again, I see a trend where they're leveraging digital capabilities to do that. So making it more accessible, making it a more digital consumer experience. So I find that quite exciting, and I think that's really encouraging. And I'd say a big shift in that conversation to 2 years ago when I was here. And then the third one's crypto. Every angle, from crypto ATMs to platforms to wallets and everything around. And again, people talking about bringing crypto to the masses. And I think that comes with opportunity, it comes with challenges as well. So quite a lot. Obviously, I think the other thing is just changing types of products and the way they're going to customers. So buy now, pay later, effectively bringing credit to checkout and products like that, which I think again is interesting, but a lot happening around the industry. I think so. It's definitely a data and analytics driven play. And so I think the conversation, I haven't heard as many people talking about examples in other countries or examples of models, but I think the sophistication in the way that they're approaching the problem is changing a lot. So, and I won't give away the secrets of where people are tackling this from, but they're using data from places that I would never have thought that you would use to identify customer pockets of people that are underserved and need help. And I think that's really interesting. If I think back to some of the companies who I've seen play in this place for years, it's been kind of put a product in front of a customer because that customer will be there. But then you've got to deal with education of those consumers. Why do they want to buy the product? And they haven't all worked as well as everyone would have hoped they would. I think now, because of that data-driven approach that they're taking, they're getting very targeted. They're understanding the problems that these consumers are dealing with. They're understanding much more of the behavior of those customers and what they do on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. Deposit their payroll check or go cash their payroll check and try and shop. Then they're doing bill pay and stuff in retail locations. So I just think it's really interesting how a number of different players are taking that data and really trying to build insight and hopefully great consumer experiences and product. So. For us, because of what we do, fraud's an ongoing topic. I think what I am seeing is people really looking at solutions around fraud and identity that they can couple with unique product capabilities and things they're bringing to market. So it's not an independent conversation. They're looking at how do they take product to these customers, how do they evolve the offerings, particularly in digital. Fraud comes with that. I was in a conversation earlier today with somebody talking about fraud, cyber, identity. This all comes together and clashes. Again, it comes back to data, it comes back to analytics, it comes back to working as an industry to try and solve the problem. So I think there's a big piece there around making sure that the right data is flowing between players in the ecosystem. We had this conversation this morning with a bank, and I won't say which bank it was, but we were talking about fraud as a problem. us as vendors, we have to go build business cases and strategy papers to get investment in our platforms to help our customers fight fraud. The banks have to go and pitch to their strategy committees and boards to get investment to deploy those. Meanwhile, the fraudsters are off running around using the same technology we're all trying to get budgets to buy and use to go and defraud us and all of our customers. So this problem is not going away. I think there's a heightened awareness of the risks that come, particularly everything we've talked about is around digital. Everything, consumers, wealth, with digital comes fraud, comes risk, comes cybercrime as well. So I think it goes hand in glove really in terms of the way people are thinking about that. I think right now fraud's probably the best business case you can have and invest behind. And I say that in jest, but if you're a fraudster, the chance of you getting caught and prosecuted today globally is probably 2 to 5% chance of prosecution. I've been on panels with law enforcement. They just, either the case doesn't get to them or putting it together with the different parties that you need to actually go and prove it and convict it is very, very difficult. So if you want to have a good chance of success, go try and commit fraud. So it's a real problem. I think the point around data and putting your data out there, and is that a solution? Should consumers be more aware of contributing data to help people protect them? I think it's a difficult one because you have to educate an average consumer about how their information can help to protect them. I've seen examples where some banks have actually done that, so they'll only give you access to services on your mobile phone if you consent to allow them to get access to data on that device. So it helps to protect you, and it's a trade-off. I think there is. The other side of that, though, I would say, is the average consumer puts way too much information out there in the public domain that can help fraudsters to go and put together their identity, create synthetic identities and other things. And so I think people need to be a lot more careful about what they're putting out there unconsciously, because that really does cause big problems. That's a great question. I think it's that trade-off between friction and fraud, or protection and experience. And so we're having a lot of those conversations with customers that are designing new products and designing new solutions, and talking about almost a dynamic approach to the consumer journey that brings in different types of friction through that process, depending on the level of risk that it looks to be displaying around that particular individual or transaction. So that could be when someone opens an account, if they're coming from a suspicious IP address or a device that's been seen in fraudulent transactions before. Perhaps you take them through a much more cumbersome, high friction journey. You might run different services in the background where you feel very unsure about that individual, because let's be honest, especially when you talk about payments and fraud, once that money's gone, it's very hard to get it back. So the cost of that particular transaction, if it goes wrong, can be thousands of dollars or more. So I think there's a really important trade-off between fraud and friction. It's a good conversation to have as well, because it makes people really think about how they design those products, how they design those experiences. And actually it brings a much broader set of stakeholders and functions together, which is really important. Fraud teams and AML teams and identity and access management teams and technology teams. And I think that's really, really important. And that's only going to continue as people digitize their products. Yeah, I mean, being here at Money2020, we're talking to a lot of customers and prospects about how we can help them. That idea of smart friction is something I really like, and where can we help to provide some of that? I was talking to a customer yesterday, and they said, can you show me another customer that I can go and see and use their product to experience what you do? I said, I can give you lots of customers, but you won't see us. And that's the beauty about what we do. We want to be in the background. We want to provide confidence to our customers about who they're dealing with. The best thing we can do is not be seen in that experience. So we take the consumer friction away, but we provide confidence to our customers about who they're dealing with, that they are who they say they are, coming in from where they think they're coming in from, and that they are a genuine customer. And I think fundamentally, whether you're talking about these exciting new digital products or you're talking about traditional banking and the way that people move money, it's the same thing. It's a risk-based approach. So what is the risk associated with that particular event or that particular transaction? And what are the protections you need to put in place as an institution or as an organization to make sure that you're protected? So if you're logging in for the first time, but you're not actually adding any payment information, small risk, potentially. If someone's going in and linking a bank account and then subsequently can do a huge transaction, high risk. So, and I think it's really, it's incumbent on us to help our customers think through those different types of risk, because I think this space and fraud is moving so fast. We help to educate customers about the kind of risk that they're facing, because there are unintended consequences of trying to do a great thing for a customer. So yeah, it's an interesting place. We're certainly having conversations about where Refinitiv can play a role to help our customers. And the topics that are here at Money2020, I think, just lend themselves to solutions like ours. So it's quite exciting.